Hello, my friends around the world. How are you guys doing? I'm dressed up in this total big coat and stuff, even though I just got home and I turned on my heater, so it's going to take a while to heat up this room. Because in Japan, we just have these little, each room gets heated. Anyway, I'm going to actually talk about a subject I was debating on whether I should ever talk about on my YouTube videos, but this whole flat earth idea. And I don't want to tell you how many hours of flat earth stuff I've watched just because I just wanted to see how far people could twist their thinking to get such an idea and hold on to such a crazy idea. And the further they go, the more they have to twist the idea to get it to try to make sense. But it still makes no sense whatsoever. So I'm just going to say my little takes on why it's impossible to be on a flat earth. Okay, so let me just give this guitar for an example here. Okay, so let's say, and this is not round, but let's say this was round here. This is the flat earth, okay? And this is actually probably easier because then you got like a hemisphere here, but they say it's like a big pizza. Okay, it's a big pizza. Who knows how thick it is. But anyway, so the Antarctica is going all around the outside. This is what they think. And in the middle is the North Pole, which lately it hasn't always been completely ice because it sometimes melts. But the middle is this North Pole. All the way around the outside is the South Pole, which no one could go beyond the South Pole because it's supposedly restricted by some government contracts. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. I don't really care about that. And I really don't really care if there is a flat earth or there's a round earth because it makes no difference to me. I mean, really, I don't, unless I had to jump off it or something, then okay, it would be a problem. And I don't really care whether there's gravity or no gravity or whatever there is holding us to the planet. To me, either way, it doesn't really matter. But I'm just going to point out where this doesn't work out. So, okay, so they say the sun is very small, and it's very close to the Earth. That's why when I'm in Japan, and my family is in California over here, it's daytime there and it's night. Well, for now, I'm in Japan. It's night. It's daytime. What time is it? It's like 4 or 5. It's going to be night soon. But in California, it's nighttime. Okay, so how does this work? Okay, so they think, first of all, the sun is so small relative to this huge planet, and it's very close to the Earth. So, that would mean if the sun's over here like it is now, people in California can't see the light from it. Which, okay, let's just go with the fact that, okay, in their theory, somehow, light can't travel as far as you really think it can. But they can't explain why we can see stars, which are way, 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 way above those. But of course, in their theory, they think the stars are a lot closer than they really are. So, okay. We can see the light from these stars that might be, whether they're farther or nearer than the sun is, who knows. We can still see them. But we can't, when it's night here and the sun's over here, we can't see the light from that. Okay, let's just say, okay, that's possible if there was something in the ether that blocked light from a certain distance. Okay, great. I'm going to give that to them. Okay, what if that is true? But I watched the sunset. Okay, I'm in Japan here. Korea and China's over here. I can't see it. All I can see is ocean. I'm on the backside of Japan where I could see Korea and China if the world wasn't round. But I can't see it because I see the ocean and it looks like it just goes over an end. And I watch the sun go over that. Looks like it goes into the ocean. If I believe there was a flat earth back in the day, it would have gone in the ocean. Okay, so if it were a flat earth, that sun would keep going and would pass Korea and pass China and pass Russia and all the other places and go all the way around to eventually come to California. If that happened, the sun, as I watch it, it wouldn't go down. It would stay in the same place, but it would keep getting smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller until I can barely see it, and then I can't see it anymore. That's what would happen if it was a flat earth. Because it wouldn't go down. And the thing is, when you see the sun setting, the size relative to what it is when you see it at noon doesn't change at all. So in order for that to happen, you have to have a round Earth. There's no way to have that on the flat Earth. When I watch a plane fly by overhead, it looks bigger, but the further it goes away, it gets smaller and smaller and smaller until it goes over the horizon and goes down. Because I watch them go over the ocean going to China, and I'm on the backside of Japan. Okay, I've also flown from the backside of Japan over Sado Island to Korea. And when I was watching the ocean, it just looks like ocean. There's nothing. And then all of a sudden, comes up as you're flying over, it comes up this little peninsula, and then you can see more and more as you get closer, which means we're going around a globe to see now, all of a sudden, a new landmass that we couldn't see, no matter how high we flew in the plane. Okay, so that's one way we know their theory is incorrect, because the sun would keep getting smaller and smaller and smaller until it just disappears far away, not down over underneath us. It would keep going further and further and getting smaller and smaller and smaller until we can't see the light anymore, which is what they claim. Okay, now, in their theory, the moon sometimes is close to the sun and sometimes is not close to the sun. So let's say it's nighttime and we can see a full moon over here, and it's daytime over here on the other side of the planet, and we can't. Let's get it exact. Like China and California are supposedly, I guess, exactly opposite sides. So if I'm in China, and I can see a full moon, and I'm in California and I can see a full sun. It's 12 noon, and then all of a sudden, these people in China start seeing a shadow, which is the lunar eclipse, slowly covering the moon. And I've called my brothers and my friends in California and said, do you guys see the moon? No, we don't see the moon because it's not in the sky. Because you guys see the moon over there. Okay. What is the shadow that goes over that? If there's a sun over here and there's a moon over here, and the sun never goes on the backside of this flat Earth, and the moon never goes on the other side either. It always stays. It goes around in this circle around the North Pole. And different times of year, it goes down more south, and sometimes it goes up more north, which they believe is what causes the seasons. Okay, so what is this shadow that is on the sun, and what is this shadow that's on the moon when we have an eclipse? It can't be this flat Earth, because the sun and the moon don't go on this side, according to their theory. So that's just another one of the things they can't explain, and I've listened to a bunch of them. But anyway, I don't spend too much time on it. But if someone can explain that to me, how the hell we have a lunar eclipse and solar eclipse, and they show a shadow of something, and it sure looks like another planet. And so where is that planet that they're showing the shadow, which is supposed to be the Earth in the scientific model? Now, I fully condone, should I say condone? I condone anyone who questions NASA, because the NASA should stand for never a straight answer, because it is a part of the cabal of the government, which the government has a lot of different agencies that I think NASA is one of the basic cover-up parts where it's the people can get a small inkling of what real science is, which is the small tip of the iceberg, and all the other stuff is deep down in secret black projects. And the president doesn't even have a need to know to find out about most of the technologies that are hidden from the general public, because the patent office lately in the U.S., every time someone has an invention that could change the world or could change health or could change anything to the positive, the government says, we are restricting this for national security, whatever almost it is lately. So it's really hard to get a patent for a lot of things lately. If you're doing something incredible, like say you got a drug that cured cancer and you try to get it patented, which people have. The government works in collusion with the AMA, which is the American Medical Association, and all the drug companies that pretty much fund the research in the AMA and all the other agencies that are 3 letters or 4 letters or whatever other acronym you want to use. All these agencies get funded by the major corporations that pretty much fund all Republican and or Democrat and Republican Party. So all these agencies are going to be giving you corrupt information because they're just front groups. So there is some truth things in NASA, what NASA says, because they can't just, everything can't be bullshit. But there's a lot of half-truths, you know. So I love the fact that anyone's questioning NASA, anyone's questioning the government theory on everything. That's great. But this flat earth model just doesn't work. So if someone could show me how it worked, which I've watched all their videos and I haven't seen any of it work. Okay, since I got into that, why don't we get into global warming? I just figure we're going to get into another subject. Okay. I used to believe, no, of course the globe's getting warmer, but so is Jupiter, so is Mars, so is Saturn, so is all the other planets in our solar system. And actually, most of those planets are now experiencing drastic changes in atmospheric levels of all kinds of gases. So a lot of them are creating atmospheres where they never had atmospheres. Some of them are, you know, we're discovering water on them. Okay, but how is this possible if global warming, the only cause of global warming, is human causes? Okay, so the biggest cause that scientists said for the longest time was greenhouse gases that they said were from industrial plants, cars, planes, all the other things we do using technology, and we create carbon dioxide because we burn things. Anytime we burn anything, okay. So that's one of the main, was believed one of the main reasons. And then the second group of people came along and said, no, that's actually the second. The first thing is methane from farting cows and other animals that we've created this appetite for meat way above the level of any other civilization in history. Never ate as many. Most people eat meat 3 times a day. So no matter what your diet is, you eat a lot more meat than, unless you're vegan or vegetarian, which I was for a while, and it didn't work for my body, so I gave it up. But anyway, my reason for going vegetarian or vegan was because I believed that animal husbandry was the main cause of deforestation, the lack of water in countries, and the fighting over water rights, and many other ecological things. That's the reason I wasn't so much into the ethical concern for the cow, because I just didn't think of that. I was more environmentally thinking about that. Okay, I agree we should consume less meat. I agree we should stop using fossil fuels, because we have the technology to 0-point energy. It's there, but the government blocks the patents. They block allowing it to be given out to the general public because they want to control it, because the oligarchy pretty much runs the governments in most of the countries, because they want to get as much profits and money from what they own, or they think they own, the rights of the oil under the ground. Until they fully extended all that, they're not going to go into the other sources. Okay, that is completely criminal, and that is completely destroying nature, of course. But is that causing global warming? If that were true, then Mars must have a lot of farting cows and must have a lot of SUVs and other industrial plants that are somehow burning fossil fuels on that planet, and also Jupiter and Saturn and all these other planets. So until you can tell me how these other planets are getting warmer, I can't believe that is the main cause of global warming. So what do I have to do? I have to come up with another theory. This isn't my theory. This is a theory I've heard explained by many people. I think the first time I really got into this theory was after reading the book, what's it called? The Source Field. The Source Field Investigations by David Wilcox. I recommend his book. I recommend his book before that. I haven't read his books. Oh, sorry. I recommend his book after that, which I can't remember the name. I read those 2 books. I haven't read his books prior to those, which I want to read the book, because I do believe he is a reincarnation of Edgar Cayce. I've at least read enough about it to realize that yes, he was a reincarnation of Edgar Cayce. He is a reincarnation of Edgar Cayce. So I want to read that book. It's called The Reincarnation of Edgar Cayce. So the theory that is released by scientists and other people is that this whole thing called the precession of the equinox is at 25,000 or so, I forget the exact number, of years, is not that the Earth is tilted. The Earth is not tilted. It's just spinning like a normal thing. It's not spinning on the side, or it's not spinning any different way. But that appears that way because the solar system, all the planets going around the solar system, are going in a 25,000 plus year cycle around what? Another central pillar, which can be a star, it could be a black hole, it could be a, who knows what it is. It could be a planet, Planet X, or whatever. Okay, I believe it's a star. Whether it's a brown dwarf or another kind of star, who knows? Because scientists, and in that book it goes over the research, believe that 80 to 90% of the stars that we see are all binary systems. They're two stars rotating around each other. So this other planet and us, or this other star in us, is going through this 25,000 year cycle. And every time it gets closest, what happens is when you get two things that are causing some pull, I'm not going to call it gravity, I'm not going to call it, who knows what the force is. I believe, okay, question gravity, question all other forces, because there might be some other force that's causing, it might be plasma, it might be, who knows what it is. But anyway, these two objects are going around and getting close to each other and then spinning back out. The further they go out, the slower they go. And as they come closer, they start speeding up because of the force they're going around each other. And then they go fast and they spin around each other. So this last, however many years it is here, is the fastest spinning. The whole systems, the solar systems, the planets, are all spinning faster and faster. So the days are shorter. The only way we know how much time is in a day is by how many sunsets. One sunset is a day, and sunrise is the starting of a new day. So the only way we calculate time is by the movements of the planets. If all the movements of the planets in the solar system is all moving a little faster each year as it gets closer to the central pole, then time is speeding up. But we can only feel there might be something different. If we look at our pictures, if I go back and I look at my mother's picture when she was my age, I don't want to say my age, but she looked much older than I did. I look at my grandma's picture when she was my age, she looks much older than that. I look at great-grandmother's pictures, no matter how far you go back, everyone looks older, and they died younger. But did they really? If the day was shorter, if the day is shorter now, and their days were longer, they were actually living just as long as us, but they counted how many times around the sun is a year, and how many rotations of the earth as a day, so their days and their years were longer. So why is it that people are living older now when we have all this pollution, we have all these GMO products, we have all this toxicity, we have all these things that should kill us, and we have the whole belief that all these people are trying to kill us and they wanted population reduction, but it doesn't seem to be working because no matter how much they try to kill us, we keep living longer. Why is that? But we're not. What if we're not living longer, but time is speeding up? So this is what they call, the closer we get in here, is the golden age. What happens when things speed up is our brains speed up, our consciousness, which is just an energy, goes to a higher frequency, we become more enlightened. So this golden age. And consequently, the faster you get anything going, the molecules start spinning faster, the heat, it raises the heat. So in order for you to lower the heat of something, you have to slow down the molecules. In order to raise the heat, you got to increase the speed of the molecules. That's basically how heat works. So I believe that is the main reason, and I'm not the only one, and I don't want to name all the people who believe this, but anyway, I'm just the first one that I know. I haven't seen many videos on it coming out and saying that's the belief. It's a theory, of course, and you can shut it. You can disprove it if you can. Go ahead. I'm not. I don't really care one way or the other because, of course, I believe we should reduce the amount of waste and destruction of the planet. That's the main important thing. But when we buy into these government ideas that we need to pay carbon credits to some UN agency or some, cabal of Illuminati people or whoever they are that, banksters that are destroying countries right now and they're doing false flag terrorism and all these other things, then I think you should really question all the things they're saying and please keep questioning this idea of a flat earth, round earth, because I don't really care one way or the other. But it just so far makes no sense. The more I watch, the more I'm convinced that it's a bunch of crap. And I have two theories to why people are putting this out. One is people are just seriously confused and they doubt the government, and they have reason to doubt the government for everything. So they're looking for an alternative explanation for everything. That's cool. But I think there's also a group of people that actually work within the government that are putting out theories that are so crazy that it'll cause people to not question all the other things they should be questioning, like who did 9/11. Of course, it couldn't have been these 19 hijackers with box cutters. That's just impossible. We know that now. So people who want you to stop questioning global warming, they want you to stop questioning 9/11, and they're gonna boom up this theory, maybe there's a flat earth, because what they're going to want you to do is they're going to get into studying it, and then you're going to go, this is absolute bullshit. So then I'm not going to go, all these people that say this is untrue, this is fake, or that whatever, you're going to stop wanting to question altogether. You're just going to say, fuck it. I'm just going to take the scientists, whatever they say, whatever the government says, because I went down that lane of crazy fucking lunatics. I'm not calling anyone a crazy lunatic, but that's what they're going to think, because they're using this theory to try to make people follow it to realize how loony it is. Okay, that's all I have to say about that and global warming. Okay, but I think I need to just want a little more on this idea. So as we get further out in 25,000 year cycles, it becomes the Dark Ages. In our 1600s or whatever we call the Dark Ages is like maybe in between the Golden Age and the Silver Age. It's not anything near. This is like caveman people. And then they come back, they start becoming more intelligent, and they create civilizations like they did when they created the pyramids, which I think are, the people that are now studying it 10 to 20,000 years before they really thought the pyramids were. And then there's finding all these pyramids underwater, like in Japan, in between Japan and Okinawa, there's pyramids underwater. Those ones had to be 25 or more thousand years ago, because so maybe this was the last time we got to this great swing where people's intelligence raised, the heat raised, everything raised. So the heat is probably going to go up, and maybe that's a good thing. Maybe that's something that's natural. But of course we need to stop doing all the destruction. So by saying I don't believe human activity is the main cause of global warming, I'm not saying that, okay, we can just pollute the earth and we can still keep using fossil fuels. But right now, we don't have a choice. We have a choice if we overthrow the governments, because the governments won't let us have a choice. So I want to, right now, put alcohol in my car. In Japan, I can't produce alcohol unless I have a liquor license to produce alcohol as an industrial person and sell it as drinkable alcohol. I can't produce it for my heater. I have heaters here that would put alcohol in it if I did it, but I could be thrown in jail. So they don't allow us to do other things. We can be growing hemp and use the hemp plants as one of the greatest sources of, it grows so fast, so they call it weed, as one of the greatest sources for creating alcohol, which is plant-based alcohol, ethanol. and we can fuel our cars. And the amount of carbon dioxide that the plants take in will be more than the amount that when you burn them as the fuel goes out of the car. So we can basically clean up the environment. That's one way. But of course we have other fuel and other technologies, but it's all kept secret. Okay, that's all I got to say. Those two things. I might say more in the future. It depends on what people say on the post there. So please tell me your opinion. I don't care if you think I'm a complete idiot for any of those things, because those are just ideas. I'm always willing to entertain interesting point of views, and I'm open to being proven wrong, because I don't have any agenda for any of these point of views. It's just trying to figure out what exactly is going on. You have to come up with wild ideas to get slowly to what might really